New York and on the new Hot 97 app. Ebro in the morning on Hot 97.
Ebro in the morning. Laura Stiles and you, Angel.
Angel Rich is here.
Angel Rich. Well, no, the reason I say it like that, Laura Stiles, is because I just recently got word of who you were. I hadn't heard of everything that you were doing. And with financial literacy and technology and you being young and amazing and black and pretty.
Yes,
I wasn't going to do that in the interview. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was going to stick with the business. I wanted to first commend you on just the work that you're doing, because I feel like, I would love to. I'm sure there's a lot of work happening, but the fact that you're leading this financial literacy tech thing, how long have you been on this mission?
I've been on the sort of Black Tech Matters mission for about 5 years now.
Now, was this something that your parents were very passionate about? Like they instilled all of this like in you as a young child? Or because I know, like when we talk to young people, including myself, like I made so many mistakes and I wish that my parents would have educated me when it comes to finances. And most young people, they don't have that.
Yeah, me and my sister both were kind of blessed in that way. We're both beasts when it comes to being entrepreneurs, and it's because our parents were savages as entrepreneurs. They helped lead kind of the African-American entrepreneurship movement in the 90s in D.C., and so because of that, we kind of grew up with entrepreneurs' parents. I was forced to read business books every single week until about the age of 17 and do book reports on them.
How mad were you back then?
I actually was very mad.
We gotta keep it on.
Yes,
because this is not for school. This is for your parents.
Yes, literally.
Yeah.
And my mother would be so serious about it. Like I would really have to actually write a book report, and not just the book report. Because I'm actually secretly kind of shy for real. A lot of people don't know that. But I would then have to also explain what I learned to her in the book. So it wasn't even like a fake assignment. This is like a real assignment.
Work.
Yeah.
Well, and the reason I wanted to point that out is because there's probably people watching this that, a lot of times you see parents being, I don't want to say hard on their kids, but demanding.
Yeah.
Asking a lot of their children, right? And you see some parents like, why? They're just kids. Let them have fun, da, da, da. And, unfortunately, I'm a big believer with my daughter that there's certain luxuries that when you're black and you weren't kind of born into money or born into certain things culturally, you got to do a little bit of extra work so that you don't get left behind out here.
Yeah, and my parents definitely understood that, and I had no clue. Even things like going out to eat, we would have to sit up straight. We would have to, learn
make
proper
eye contact,
etiquette.
shake your hand, speak up.
All
make
of
sure
that.
when you talking, make sure people can hear you.
Yeah, and we didn't understand why it was such a big deal when we were younger, but we're very thankful for it now because it has definitely prepared our careers.
Now, when you were growing up, what were some of the most common mistakes, like among your peers that you saw, like of financial disasters? Because I know the most common one is that you already know once you get to college, you become a mess. You rack up your bills, your credit card bills.
Family on campus. I remember at my college, they was on campus giving out
Yes.
credit cards. Like you would just be walking to class. They was like, yo, you want a credit card? What's
Free
the
money.
limit? $1,500. Wait, I just signed this, I get $1,500?
Yeah, like my first credit card actually was for my sister. I was trying to get her a dragonfly necklace from Zales, and it was like $500. And I'll never forget, I was so excited to be able to get this necklace, but in my head, I didn't actually have to pay for it, right? Like, because it was on credit.
Right.
And it wasn't really until after college that I think I even realized that, hey, that thing from Zales from freshman year is on this thing called a credit report. And that's kind of a collection of all this debt that you have now that you need to pay off. So when I graduated college, I was actually $180,000 in debt.
After all that work that your mom and dad did.
Yeah.
Now, let me ask you this. At that point in your life, after all of these financial conversations with your parents and them leading these entrepreneur, movement in D.C., did they allow you to get that debt for you to learn a lesson, or did they try to stop you and you wasn't listening?
A little bit of both.
Okay.
So it was a little bit of, also just kind of financial hardships. My mother is actually technically legally blind now. My father went through some things because of the mayor in D.C., kind of took a hit for him and stuff, And so as a result, we had to kind of take on some debt for me to be able to get through school, and I was able to work 2 jobs while I was in school and kind of be able to pay off a lot of the stuff. And then at the same time, I was properly taught not to necessarily go out and get a necklace from Zelle. So at the same time, a part of it was me being hard-headed and just not heeding the lessons that I should have already learned.
Okay, so what was the first step when you were like, all right, I got to do something about this?
Yeah, like when I realized I had $180,000 worth of debt, my credit report was 12 pages. Oof. I'll never forget. And I was just sitting down and I had all the pages surrounding around me. And I was like, I got to make a plan, because according to the plan, if I had paid off the debt the way that it looked, I would have still been 60 years old,
of
still
course.
in debt. And I was like, I can't live like this. Like my life is already in slavery. And so from the moment that I got to my job at Prudential, I put half of my income into 8 different savings accounts, like 401k, employee stock, group stock, group life insurance, anything that they was offering, I had it. And I was putting it into the max as well. And so as a result, when I left Prudential 3 years later, I had $100,000 saved up and I had paid off $100,000 worth of my debt. And I never saw the other half of my income the entire 3 years that I worked at Prudential.
How hard was that for you to make that commitment?
It actually wasn't that hard. And it was something I had actually always planned to do since I was a child, because it always boggled my mind why people got out of college or out of high school and then all of a sudden started balling out. Yeah. Like you were just living in the projects. So we have a Walmart at Hampton called Black Walmart. Like I was just working at Black Walmart, making $8 an hour. I was also the advertising manager of the newspaper, working off a commission.
Eating peanut butter and jelly
peanut butter and
sandwiches.
jelly, like with my $650 apartment.
But you were humble though.
Yeah.
But there's a certain level of humility it takes to go ahead and live at your means.
Yeah.
Right. And I think a lot of people, because so many people start with I guess feeling like the world is stacked against them and not having, as soon as they have an opportunity to have something, they're addicted to it.
Yeah.
And that materialism and those brands and those Jordans and this and that, it becomes addictive. And the jewelry and shining and the response that you get from people when you look a certain way,
very true,
right, becomes addictive. So people go and basically leverage their entire life, to be noticed.
I agree, and people had already called. I mean, I went to Hampton University from D.C. When I went there wasn't many people making it out of D.C. to go to college. And so people was already calling me ghetto.com and all type of stuff. So, hey, guess what? Call me that for about 2 more years while I stack this paper, as opposed to trying to come out and stunt, and then I run out of money, and then you really are calling me ghetto.com because I didn't fell off. So I just felt like, let me just stay low, get my bread together, and next thing you know, by the end of 3 years, I had a skyline apartment and 2 cars in 2 different states.
Boom.
So you went and balled out anyway, and then ran your credit back up. Like, why'd you run your credit back up?
This was all cash.
Oh, okay. I was just checking.
This was all with the other half of the income.
Right.
Yeah, like I had started managing my money so well that the other half that I had, I was still like having a lot of it and had more money than I knew what to do with.
And so now you've taken all of your learning and your life experience and even your parents' learning and life experience. And now talk to us about this technology and the apps.
So our app is called Credit Stacker. It's similar to Candy Crush, but instead of swapping around candy, you swap around credit types to be able to pay off your debt, achieve a high credit score, and learn from the multiple choice questions. It's literally the only mobile credit game in the world. I essentially kind of reverse engineered or picked apart the Fair Isaac credit reporting system and made a game out of it. It has been named the best financial literacy product in the country by the White House, Department of Education, and JP Chase. We were named one of the...
You guys got a bunch of grants, I read.
Yes. Like JP Chase gave us a $10,000 grant. Industrial Bank gave us a $20,000 grant. Black Enterprise, we got a $7,500 grant. 43 North, we got about $10,000 from them. And so in total, between grants and investments, we're at about $600,000 now. And so it's amazing, but I also have to caveat, and the whole point of the Black Tech Matters is, I was named the next Steve Jobs by Forbes magazine, but at the same time,
we'll talk about that at a different thing. But keep going.
But at the same time,
they just throwing that title around like we're not just gonna throw that out. But keep going.
But at the same time, I haven't really been able to raise as much funding as a counterpart might be able to. So there's only been 16 black women in the world to raise over $1 million in the past 6 years. And so it's at a huge disparity. The average white man of a failed company raises about $3 to $5 million. The average black woman of a successful company raises about $35,000. So that's kind of what we're fighting for. So we're extremely grateful for the money that we have raised, but there's a much larger picture and movement around the money that
let's
that
stay
should be
right
coming.
there because black tech, coding, black entrepreneurs in tech, executives at tech companies, black men and women actually working at high levels in tech companies, black or tech companies in America actually making investments in the workforce here in America and not going overseas to find their workforce. Like there's a lot of things to unpack there.
Yes.
In your experience, what are they saying to you, or what are the words they're using when a black person or a woman or any other minority is coming and presenting a tech idea? What's the code language?
I like how you asked this question. It's a kind of a cut to the chase question. I'm kind of a cut to the chase type of girl. And basically what it is straight. I'm gonna go ahead and quote somebody that's a famous investor, and he said this out his own mouth. Mitch Kapoor. He actually said that he went around to the top companies in Silicon Valley, and they straight up told him in a nutshell that they don't care, that they don't really care about diversity. They don't really see how it adds to their bottom line. I've done a ton of reports, and I still try to work on reports and documentaries and all type of stuff to prove that diverse companies are actually 35% more successful than other companies. I was at a very high level meeting the other day, and somebody read a report says 63%. I'm not going to quote that because I haven't read the report myself, but apparently it's up to like 63%. So just from a business perspective, it makes more sense to invest in diverse companies. There is a phrase called self-reference criterion. You learn that in international marketing. And basically what that means is when you go into a different society, you have to release anything that you know because a different society might operate differently. There's a country called Arjibon that we won an award in. Didn't even know that was a country. But let's say they put water in their cereal. We can't go over there and say, hey, you're supposed to put milk in your cereal. No, they've been putting water in their cereal for the past 1,000 years.
Right.
It's kind of the same thing with the black community. These people are coming from Silicon Valley and they don't understand how we're operating, how we're bootstrapping, how we're solving social justice issues through tech, how a little black girl with no tech background can reverse engineer the Fair Isaac credit reporting system and come up with an algorithm more sophisticated than Google's. They can't fathom that. And so time and time again, I've had different accelerators and programs actually have me create a slide in the beginning of my presentation to break down the misnomer that a black girl can actually do the things that I'm telling them that I can do. And they tell me that nobody's even paying attention to my presentation because they're still sitting there trying to figure out how this little black girl is doing this. And these are like my investors and advisors that's telling me this.
I think sometimes we put out a lot of energy being concerned with trying to get people who don't understand us to understand, instead of focusing our energy in the places where people are more open-minded and would like to understand. Now, unfortunately, the purses, the checkbooks are controlled by people who don't generally look like us. So we're going to people who don't care about us for finances. But I guess I'd have to ask the next question. Because of technology and because of black folks and our ability to become communal around things that we're passionate about, has going to the people and raising funds been a part of your...
Yeah, it's definitely been a part of my mission. I even received $200,000 from a black guy recently. And recently, about a week ago, this black woman that's a surgeon gave me $100,000. The problem is, to your exact point, which is why I'm excited to be on Hot 97 and why I wanted to be here, is for this very question. Recently, Hove, Diddy, T.I., and Khaled, and a bunch of other people took a picture together. In that picture, I calculated a minimum of $3 billion. And, I basically just feel like that the artists have an amazing opportunity right now to be able to support the black tech community as well as financial literacy for the community. As they have a ton of money at their disposal. They, I assume, understand the need and understand how technology companies can grow to a large extent.
Didn't Hov shout out, what's the tech conference that happened in Silicon?
Afrotech.
He shouted out Afrotech, so of course he's aware of it.
When I heard him shout out Afrotech, I said, okay, I can no longer excuse him
not knowing.
I can no longer.
I think the disconnect is people are looking at, and I hear the conversation.
And I love all of them.
Oh, for sure. It's not about love. This is about business.
Yeah.
We talking about money and business. This ain't about love. Yeah, the music's great, whatever, but we talking about business. I think the disconnect, because I read some of the articles and you hear who's making money, who's not making money, what's able to be monetized and what's not being able to be monetized. And venture capitalists are out here. That's what they do. 99% of the things they invest in, they know are gonna not come to fruition and make any money. But that one that they get is gonna make sense for the whole. All the things that they didn't get right. Is there a disconnect on people understanding how they're gonna monetize?
No, I think it's a disconnect of trust. And I actually know this. I'm also the author of the African American Financial Experience Study, all of this. And basically it boils down to trust. And what we have is a lot of leaders in the black communities, the ones that do invest, they sadly wait for some type of white or Silicon Valley company to put money in first. It's rarely any black investors that's out here just straight up writing checks to black people that a white person hasn't wrote a check to them first. So we got to get rid of that. We got to get rid of having another community vouch for our own community. And fortunately, in the black community, because we have been so neglected for the past 6 years, there's a bunch of us that's just walking around like diamonds.
Why you say 6 years?
Because we've started tracking it for two reasons. The startup movement, the big startup movement, the current one, started in 2012 with President Obama releasing the Jobs Act. So since then, there's been a floodgate of venture capital and programs and all this type of stuff. However,
Trump didn't do that? I'm just kidding. It was a joke, guys. It was a joke.
That really cracked me up. And so money, only 0.02% of the money has gone to black women though. So it's like, it's been a huge movement. DC is even #1 for women in the country. But I'm the #1 black woman in the country. Right. I haven't received no money from nobody in DC. Right. So it's like, it's a critical example. I was just involved in a very high level with 45s people and all this type of stuff, bipartisan thing, representing the country for entrepreneurs. And it's like a lot of people just don't get it. They don't get the struggle that we're having.
Well, I also think it's generational too, because you have probably people with money who just invest in stuff that they see trending up, right? But they're not because they don't use technology themselves.
Yes.
Because they're older, you're coming in like, this is what we need to do, and they are they're not even, they don't even use it.
You know who did contact me, and I would love to get back up with you? It's Snoop Dogg's team. And so it was somebody had a death in their family and things kind of went a little bit awry. But Snoop Dogg's team reached out to me and said, hey, we're looking to connect tech and financial literacy with the music industry. I was like, yes, this is genius.
And I saw Nipsey Hussle's doing this too.
Okay.
Did you follow his story? It was recently out that he connected with an investor to build like these dope ass tech hubs to be like a liaison between Silicon Valley.
So shout out to Nipsey Hussle. I'm trying to connect with him. Chameleon.
I just put it on my page. Chameleon made a bunch of money on that.
Chameleon. Even the dude Spectacular. Do y'all know Spectacular from Pretty Ricky? Is the author of Grumpy Cat, the first meme ever on Twitter?
No.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? And then Will.i.am. Oh my gosh. Will.i.am is like, he's right there with what I'm thinking.
Nipsey Hussle's thing is at Vector90. Vector.90. Yeah. It's an Instagram account.
Should I give him South by? Should I tell him about South by? Yeah, please.
Science, technology, and engineering.
Mm-hmm.
The right alignment of innovation and impact.
So I'm not only just talking about financial literacy and tech, right? I'm coming for the music industry. We about to shut South by Southwest down and do something y'all ain't never seen before. I'm partnering with
Shut it down like it's never going to happen again, or shut it down like it's going to be...
Shut it down like y'all going to be talking about...
I think people like it. They don't want it to not.
Oh, whatever.
No, she means she's going to close it bigger and better.
Whatever. So this is what we're going to do, right? Long story short, our game is in 60 countries. We was able to scale to 200,000 downloads in 2 weeks instantly with an algorithm that I created that's better than Google's. What we're going to do at South by Southwest at the Black Tech Matters Award Show that we're hosting at Facebook on March 11th, we're partnering with a record label and we're going to integrate one of their upcoming artist songs and put it in our game. So in one day, 250,000 people across 60 countries are going to be able to hear this song in one day. Now, so holla at me, Khaled. Holla at me, Hov.
So you looking for a song?
Holla at me, Diddy.
You need a song.
I'm looking for a song. I'm looking for labels. I'm trying to cut out the distribution and the middleman and do this straight up.
So I mean, there's tons of independent artists watching right now. If you're really trying to cut out the labels, don't go to the labels. Go directly to the artists that don't have a label deal and get you the independent artists that are already buzzing. Because there's a lot of them that are buzzing already that after they watch this interview, they're going to reach out to you and be like, yo, you can use my song right now. What's up?
That's a great idea.
Because once you go to, I mean, and you know, no disrespect to the labels, but they're publicly traded and they're corporate entities. So there's a lot more red tape there in getting things done. And I know South by Southwest happens mid-March.
Yeah. Yeah,
so we
already have some artists lined up. That we
I think that after people see this, you probably want to go direct to artists and managers. It'll make it happen fast.
Oh, they're gonna be coming to us. We just letting y'all know what's about to happen.
You said a couple of times that your algorithm is better than Google's. I don't know anything about algorithms, but please explain to us what makes yours better than Google's.
So basically, the way that Google and Facebook algorithms work is it's based off of aggregate information. Without going into too much, I'll give you the numbers. If you were to advertise on Facebook, whatever you want to advertise, it would cost you $3. So that's what it would cost us for our advertisement of the game. It would cost us $3. If we had to use Google's algorithm, it would have cost us $1.80 per download. We were projecting 42 cents. People thought that was impossible. We actually got it down to 24 cents. And so Google actually contacted us based on demographics, based on geographic locations, based on the age of the person, based on the race of the person, based on the language of the person. I feel like I'm giving away too many details now.
But anybody that advertises in Facebook, you can do this sort of targeting inside Google and Facebook, yes?
Not necessarily. So I am a researcher by trade, so I actually ran like 21 experiments to be able to do this and kind of form my own algorithm. I mean, yeah, anybody could try to come up with their own algorithm, but to create something more sophisticated than Google.
That geo-targets and targets your products in a way that cheapens your CPM so that you can maximize your spend.
Exactly.
So Google reached out to you when they heard about this?
Yeah, immediately, like a week later, and they named us one of the top 10 apps in the world for 2017, and we now have a standing partnership with Google and their top 50 apps department in the world.
Do they like you going on media and shitting on their algorithm? Do they enjoy this?
I'm not sure, but what I have noticed is they've come out with a little beta product.
They're like, yo, we gotta keep up.
Yeah, and they told me that they actually wake up every morning and review our algorithm. Like every morning, that's what they wake up and do. So they definitely are interested. But that's not even like our.
That's just something you did because you needed to.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. You a smart man.
Well, no, but that's why. But
most people don't get that.
Well, no, but that's because most people not from the hood. If you from the hood, you wake up every day figuring out ways to make things happen because you got to make them happen if you want to eat.
Facts, and that's exactly what happened. I had to scale the game. I was like, ain't no way I'm about to be paying $3 a download. There got to be a better way to do this, and I figured it out.
But that's how it always happens. Look, anything and anybody that's from the hood knows this. Any technology that's ever come out, people from the hood have figured out a workaround on everything y'all got.
Yes. I was just in Virginia yesterday, in Richmond, at this little education meeting, and they were talking about innovations, and it was like, oh, let's go back and present some historic innovations as if they're new. And these people was like, yeah, like the cotton gin. And I wanted to be like, I took everything in me not to be like, so I just want to be clear that a slave invented the cotton gin. I mean, I know the patent is in the master's name, but I just want to be clear that this was created.
Once again, a workaround.
Exactly.
Because I'm breaking my back, so we need to figure out another way to get this done so we can hit these bushels or whatever the hell they had to pick every day.
The original way.
Yeah,
exactly.
The original. So, look, salute to you. And, you know, for anybody in tech, you know, the reason y'all miss the mark most of the time is because you're not coming and speaking to, you know, the young people in the corners of America that are really living this every day. Yeah. You're going to the college campuses, or oftentimes you're going overseas because you think that those education systems are better, so you're going and hiring people who don't live in America to work these jobs. And there's tons of jobs here in America. That's the whole thing we always talk about, is that our public school system, which most black and brown kids have to use, isn't preparing kids for the jobs of tomorrow. Nor is it talking to kids about financial literacy in most of our public schools and getting them prepared to manage their life and create wealth. Why? Because in America, they're not really trying to help you create wealth when you come from the underprivileged. They're trying to capitalize on you, not help you become the capitalizer. But that's a whole different conversation for another day. But I'm proud of you. Keep going. In any way we can help, support, promote, whatever, just let us know.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
If I had the money, I'd invest in you, but I work in radio.
Thank you. I
So
mean, just
we don't really make money like that.
Just encourage people to reach out to us and invest, support the movement. Come to the Black Tech Matters Award Show at South by Southwest. Follow us on YouTube and Instagram, AngelRich27, and at Wealthy Lifers. Download the game on Google Play and iOS for free. Credit Stacker. It's in 60 countries and 21 languages. And lastly, I have a book, History of the Black Dollar. It's on Amazon.com, and it speaks to the exact point that you just made. I was actually just asked by Virginia yesterday. They're thinking about making it required reading for K-12 in Virginia, and that would be a true blessing because it goes from slavery to present day and explains our economic contributions.
And you tech nerds, don't be afraid of all this black talk. I know some of y'all nerdy.
Yeah,
you're not,
like, for
and
real.
you made your first generation. You're not really from America, so some of this talk is. It gets them scared. They don't really want to hear it.
Like I
but they
take a
just don't
very
understand.
objective approach to all of this. And, like I said, I'm the author of the African American Study, Reason is Blacks and Life Insurance Commercials now. I've walked through the trenches of a lot of things, and I take a very objective approach to everything. And my vision and mission is to put everybody on the same page, not to ostracize one group or another, but just to have everybody together. Like my great-grandmother used to say, it's only one race, that's the human race. I think she got that from MLK, and I think he got it from Jesus.
Right.
So yeah, we got to just come together on one page,
Angel Rich, ladies and gentlemen, give it up for one time. Anything we left out? Did we leave something out?
No, I think we're good.
All right, there it is.
Good.
Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Thank
Angel.
y'all.
Yeah.